There seems to be a lot of 3-2 votes split along racial lines with the Lowndes County Board of Supervisors. Describe for me the dynamics of the board that lead to those votes.
Well, I think it is what it is. It's obviously that the three whites seem to share the same philosophy on issues that maybe Mr. Smith and I differ on. And that there's never been any effort to work through some of them. And in many instances, it's not even a discussion. It's just voting. And so if you're not willing to discuss the merits and demerits and vote, you're always going to have that, And I think part of it is by orchestration. Sometimes it may just fall down that line, but I think it's more of the majority setting the stage than the minorities, meaning those three votes. So I think you're probably going to see some more of that.
Okay, you had mentioned an editorial in the paper called you short-tempered, erratic, and polarizing. And I know that you disagree with that summation. Describe for me, if you will, your political philosophy and how that might be misinterpreted as those things.
Well, I think that editorial in particular was way out of line. I think that when they characterized other supervisors, it was not as pointed. It seemed that that editorial went to a great length to try and distort my attributes and my knowledge. And it seems that these editorials tend to want to marginalize my tenure on the board as well as my qualifications. And I think it's totally biased. And I think that, being board president, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. I think that either Jeff or myself could have done it very well, but I don't think the editorial ever suggested that. So I think that the editorials that have been written in the last few days regarding this board presidency thing has been very blatant, distorted, and I think all of it was pointed toward Harry Sanders as being the savior for the counties. That's not the truth. So I just found it unfair.
Okay. And as we know, Harry Sanders recently stepped down as board president and then was reappointed as board president. Why would you not want that position right now? I know you said that when it was your time, that's something that you
when it was my time, based on seniority, I was interested in being board president. I don't want to be board president by default. I think I've earned the right to sit at the table. Even if I make the worst mistakes in the world, I would not do any worse than some of them that's been there. I don't think there's any supervisor around that table that have the skills that I have, or the training, or anything. I think that I would be as good as or better than anybody's ever sat at the head of the table. But I just don't want to get caught up in all this political horseplay. I knew when Harry resigned, it was part of a ploy to try and force pressure on Frank Ferguson to stay with that voting alignment. And so it was never his intent to resign. It was to create havoc in the community for people to put pressure on Frank, and obviously it worked. So I'm not interested in that kind of horseplay. If they're looking for somebody that has the ability and skills to lead them, and I'm willing to do that, but I have no time for foolishness.
Okay. Well, if Harry Sanders at that point were not reappointed, who would you have nominated for board president?
I would have voted for anyone other than Harry. It wouldn't matter. I would have. Frank was vice president. I can't understand why you want to be vice president and not be willing to ascend up to the top. So, John, Frank, or Jeff, either one of them I would have voted for.
Why anyone except Harry?
Because I think that their demeanor and their style would be less contentious than his, and I think that he uses the presidency as a bully pit to try and get his point over, when really he should be presiding over the meeting. And I think it would bring a different kind of decorum to the board. It'd be more civil, and so I just think that anyone else other than him.
And do you foresee that happening?
Oh, no, certainly he'll serve the rest of this term, the rest of this administration out, and I suppose if he gets reelected again and get two whites that's willing to go along with him, he'll stay up there as long as he wants to. It seems to be, within small groups, there seem to be folks that want him up there, but there's a lot of people that don't. But it all boils down to the 5 men on the board. And I don't think that you're ever going to see a black at the head of the table until you get at least one white with the courage to do the right thing.